Thank you, Ruchi Madam. So now, as per our schedule, we'll start the program. So, as per today's schedule, in this technical sessions, we have 5 speakers. So, straight away we'll go to this first speaker. Whether we'll go straight away to the first speaker, that governance of a pasture and grasslands, role of local institutions. The first speaker, please. Whether I will give my introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is my time now to speak?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen so you can follow my presentation. Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me and for the opportunity to share our findings with you. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit on governance of pastures and grasslands, especially on the role of local institutions. Yeah, the first thing that we would say about local institutions is their origin. Normally, most local institutions that have a common origin, which means are collective governance institutions made by the communities. And that then it came the public governance system, which is made quite recently after the modern states or the colonization, depending on the countries. And then also the private governance system, which is the more recent one, but it's almost eating all the rest. Maybe one of the most important features of common governance and local institutions is their most deep goal, which is the way of the collective interest over the individual interest. What at the end of the day, every local governance system does or should does is to make the collective interest be more important than the individual interest. Okay, this is what is looking for the system. But let's start with the basics. What is governance? Governance is the way the power is shared in a community or in any organization or institution, how the decisions are taken, and how the rules and agreements are enforced. If you are more interested on exploring the concept behind governance, you can access to this link, which is a quite interesting report on lexicon related with local governance and indigenous people and local communities. But quite often governance is mistaken with management. Management and governance are very much related, but are different things. So what is management? Management is the things that we do after or during the governance. Is what is done to achieve the desired goals: harvesting, planting, moving the livestock around. This is what is management. So it should not be mistaken with governance. From a classical point of view, management has taken a lot of interest and a lot of attention, and governance has been forgotten for many times. This was the cause of the failure of many projects, many conservation projects and development projects, because they only were thinking about management and technical management and never take any care about governance, about how the power is shared, who is going to look for the rules that to be enforced, and so on. So now the things are changing happily. So let's get focused on pastoralism, and let's get the sample of Spain. In Spain, local governance institutions are very old. As old, you can find it as in the older papers and older documents we have. So it's at least as old as our own culture. For example, we have some common governance systems, grassland systems, that has documents from the 1882, so they have been working for more than 1,000 years, as far as we know. This area, by the way, is now a natural park, so you can imagine the value of the work this community has been done through this millennia. Most grasslands are common in Spain, are managed by or mostly local communities, but there are also some problems that I'm going to explain later. Some of these local governance systems are transboundary. I'm going to talk about it also, and many are overlapping with national parks because there is a high value of biodiversity in many of these grasslands. Another important thing is the transhumance, which is the extensive movement of cattle all crossing the country, from going to the summer pastures to the wintering areas. And in Spain, we have 128,000 kilometers in length, and almost 500,000 of hectares in this system of let's call it drop roads, where the cattle is moving every year seasonally. So let's get more and more in detail from the most wider picture to specific cases, so we can understand much better how it works and what is a local grazing institution, a local governance institution in grasslands. This is the town of Hortonedes, a typical mountain town in Catalonia, in this case. And they have, for example, this in the 1896, they decided to put in writing the laws and the ordinance and the bylaws by which they manage the grasslands and the livestock in their village and in their mountains surrounding the village. So you have to understand that all these arrangements are much prior than writing and much prior than laws, than official, let's say, state laws. So they came from the customary law. Customary law is a very important concept here, and is related very much with the agreements, the oral agreements and the oral culture. Everybody knows what is forbidden and what is the rules, and this passed from the younger generation to the older ones. So it has been so for millennia. And then there's these processes of putting this law in, let's say, state law or more modern laws. So this is one of the examples. So going to the context, what these documents say is how many cattle, how many livestock each family is allowed to move to the grasslands, in which day the horses should go up, in which day the sheep should go up to the mountains, and so because it's different. The dates for the different kinds of cattle. So you take the best of the grasslands without spoiling it. And so on. So these are the rules in which the governance rules that all the community has agreed during many years and trying. So if we go now to a wider perspective, this is a full valley. We are not talking anymore about just villages, one village. And here in this drawing, you have several villages on this valley, which are the squares. So some squares form a kind of, let's say, group. There are different groups according to the size and of the villages. So here we have 4 groups. And then we have all the different pastures in the high mountains. This is the border line between the border between Spain and France. So each group of village has the right to only some of these pastures. This is 1 year. The next year, this is rotatory. So the village that has these pastures, the next year will have other pastures, and this is going to be around every 4 years. Every 4 years, our communities return to the same pasture. So there are no problems if you have a pasture that is not so good this year, because you will have it the next year, and so on. So it's kind. So this is the arrangement for the whole valley, and this is managed by the Juntas Ganaderas, Spanish name, which is just the community of livestock owners who sit down and decide how to manage this. This is just one example. This example has been studied in this mentioned in this report. So we have the link down here if you want to go to the source of the information. But we can go even bigger in the scale of the governance of pastoralism, and this is quite famous treaty between Spain and France, not between Spain and France as countries, but between some communities that are in Spanish territory and some communities that are in the French territory. If you see the people with a red, blue, and white flag on the chest, they are French people, and the other people without any flag, they are from the Spanish part of the border. So this is an international agreement that has been working for centuries now, even in the case of war between Spain and France. So you can imagine how important and how strong this agreement is. This agreement is how to share northern slope grassland and southern slope grassland. These mountains are the Pyrenees that goes from east to west and dividing France and Spain. So what happens is that those communities in the Spanish territory will need those grasslands in the Spanish in the French territory because they are in the northern part, and will be better for late summer because they will have less hydric stress. And the other way around, in early spring, the Spanish grassland will be in the better shape. So French communities will need to go to the Spanish territory. So this way they have agreed to share, and they have agreed some rules for sharing and for taking advantage of northern or southern slope, depending on the season. So in this agreement that they make every year, the French communities provide 3 cows to the Spanish communities as a renewal of the agreement. And they say peace, peace, peace 3 times. It's now considered a tourist attraction that has some recognition from the state. This treaties has no relation with the Spanish or with French law. They are something different. So the cultural values are also very important. This is a drawing from the 1865 that depicts a water tribune of water to arrange all the problems related with grasslands and also watering. This is in the 1865, and you can see here nowadays in the same place, the same government local institution arranging the disputes. This governance system has been recognized by the UNESCO, by the United Nations UNESCO, as immaterial cultural heritage, human heritage. So it's important to see that also governance systems, although you cannot see it or you cannot touch it, they are around and they are important and they are increasingly recognized. So I have been talking about Spain, but this of course is the same in Italy with the Regole system, the Baldios in Portugal, the crafts in Scotland, also also in Switzerland they have these systems. So it's not something from countries not so industrialized. We have also very industrialized countries. And also you have very different cultures, of course. This, for example, this is the example of the pastoral traditional system in Northern Africa and Middle East, which are called Agdals in the Maghreb and Himas in the Masrek, which is the eastern part. They're already quoted in the Quran, so you can imagine how important they are. So it's also important to understand that these governance systems are overlapping with different layers of other traditional local systems. For example, the forestry that I know that you have, for example, in India, very important forest governance systems. Also, they have the communal hunting governance systems, the watering systems that are very important, marine, and so on. And all of them interact with with grassland and pastoral governance system. Some community people also, even apart from different of these, you can be a commoner in the watering governance system and also a chef, so we can be participating in several of these governance systems. So, as you can imagine, this has been neglected for a long time. In the cases of Western countries, as the country I'm from, which is Spain, this has been considered like a backwards, remnants or not more useful system that should be displaced and substituted by the modern laws and modern systems. And also in countries with a colonial history, as you know, it has been displayed also as something tribal and a source of problems that should be changed, that should be destroyed and dismantled in exchange of the laws, the national laws from the government, from centralized government. So this has been going for a long time, but it has one of the big changes that we can talk about on this is the work of Elinor Ostrom. Elinor Ostrom was the Economy Nobel Prize in 2009. And she was studying all around the world, also in Spain. She was studying these local governance systems, including also pastoral and grassland systems. Also in Switzerland and many countries, also even in California. So it's not something from just undeveloped countries. So what she discovered why, well, the first thing that she discovered is that there are many valid systems that are providing very interesting values and are working properly and are very important. So it's not just anymore, the debate is not just about public governance or private governance, but also, thanks to the work she did, the common governance has been also recognized in the scientific arena, but also in the international. So once this recognized, the recognition of the importance of local governance systems that mostly are common governance systems, as I told, has been taking place, many researchers and many conservationists and many people start to understand better the values and the importance of these local governance. This is a map of one of the provinces of Spain. What you are seeing are the Natura 2000 network, which is the network of the most valuable sites from the environmental point of view. So very valuable habitats, very valuable species that you see around, like the bear and many others. And if you see in the next picture, these brown are the common forests in the province. So if you see, there is a striking coincidence between the common forests and the areas with better preserved biodiversity. Well, this has, after many years of fighting against this idea that people is bad for the environment always, after many years from the 80s fighting also in the conservationist arena, the world of the nature conservation is increasingly recognized the value of the governance and the traditional management and traditional governance on the conservation of the species and habitat. For example, in the last World Park Congress, well, it's not the last one, there has been another one before, after, sorry. But here, this is the one in 2014, and the recognition to the values and the importance of common governance for preserving biodiversity is very strong. So we have seen that there are many different systems, many different cultural backgrounds. So what they have in common? How can we recognize all these very cultural valuable and cultural diverse systems? We need to focus, the best way is to focus on what they have in common, not so much on what they have in different. And this is how it came in the 80s. Also, this very interesting concept. It was really a revolutionary concept, which is ICCAs, also called territories of life. This is a concept that embraces all these very cultural, diverse phenomena of local governance. So how can we understand an ICCA? So the ICCA has three main features. The first one, you have an ICCA when you have a territory with a well-defined community that has a strong bound, a strong link with a well-defined territory. This is the first condition. The second condition is that this community should have a governance system by their own. And the third one is that this governance system provides a positive output in terms of nature conservation and livelihood for the community. Okay, I have here some examples about what a community can be. Can be the neighbors of a village, can be the members of a legal entity, for example, a society of hunters, like in Spain, or even can be a guild, like, for example, fishing. Okay. Or, of course, livestock owners. Then the governance are, as you know, the different rules, laws, and systems that these communities follow. Yeah, and the results, of course, is very easy to understand. Is nature conservation and good and improvement and good community livelihoods. So going further in this recognition, here we have a very interesting figure. In the column, we can see the categories of management of protected areas. This has been developed by the International Union of Nature Conservation. Most of you should be familiar with this. So you know that natural parks, so that protected areas can be national parks, natural parks, and other kind of different categories in relation to management. But also, more recently, has been very valuable to discover or to define the governance system, the governance types, which can be governed by government, shared governance between different actors, private governance, and also a type D, which is very important, which is indigenous people and community governance, which are ICCAs. You can also follow more information down here. Thanks to the recognition of this type of governance, there are many projects starting to explore and mapping and taking and collecting data on the importance of the work that local communities and indigenous people are doing by means of their local governance institutions. Many of them are pastoralists, of course, you can imagine. And although we are only seeing the type of the iceberg. The studies show that they are very important from the economical, social, and also environmental point of view. And they are all around the world. You can see here, for example, an association of ICCAs, the ICCA Consortium, which is a grassroots movement that includes many indigenous peoples and local communities that are governing ICCAs, territories of life all around the world. And we have done also some studies on trying to explore the recognition and the importance of ICCAs in many countries. We have, for example, here the case of Spain. If you go to the link, you can have a more in-deep study of these governance systems and the values they contribute to. And here you have a very recent report, 2021, about ICCAs all around the world with study cases and global spatial analysis and so on. So what are the problems now, the current problems of these local governance systems? As you can see, it's not everything good news. They are still one of the most important drivers for nature conservation and for livelihood for communities, as you can see, as you can imagine, the local governance systems. But of course, the bad policies are affecting them very strongly. For example, in the case of Spain, which is of Europe, of the European Union, which is this report you are seeing here, and this link we have down here, the common agricultural policy is being very detrimental for these traditional governance systems. Because, for example, the subsidies are paid on an individual basis, and this destroys the community, as you can imagine. If they are promoting individualism between all these communities, the decisions were taken before and are still taken in many ways, in many systems. But these policies make difficult to take the decisions in the community, and promote that some community members just go by their own, just taking into account their own interests. For example, this European policy, the Common Agricultural Policy, is promoting. They don't say so, of course, and they are not. Is not one of the goals that are written in the policies you can see, but this is one of the effects of the policy, because they pay the subsidy depending on the number of cattle, or number of livestock you have. So the more livestock you have, the more money you get. And this, of course, is a way of financing overgrazing in the grassland. And of course, as the payments are individual, it's very difficult for the community to get control, to get collective control of these problems. As you know, the colonial system has been also, and is also yet very detrimental, the colonial approach to local governance that try all the time, also in Western countries is the same situation. The problem for the administration when they are trying to face or to regulate local governance system is that local governance systems are hugely diverse, and they're very much adapted to local situations. So it's just the opposite that the states try to. The states want to have one common rule for everyone, try to make everything standard, everything with the same system, and you cannot move around that system. Or you cannot, they don't like exceptions and this kind of things. But this is exactly what commons and pastoral systems are. They change very fast depending on the situation of the season and of the different problems they find. So this is also a big clash between the administration and the local institutions. In many cases, the administration and many countries, especially in countries with a colonialist past, they actively try to erode all these governance systems. And also, you want to, for extractivist interest, you want to get your hands on the natural resources of that community. Let's say the land, the water, the grassland. The first thing you need to do is to erode and destroy the governance system. This is the way of getting all these natural resources for the market to make the commoditization of these resources. And this pressure, and the many governments are pressuring the local communities for this. And as we are close to a crisis on natural resources, as you know, the capital is pressured more and more in these communities that has a well-preserved resources. Another problem, for example, in Western countries is that the population. Many rural areas are in bad shape from the demographic point of view. Are few people, and most of them with aging population. So the communities doesn't have enough people and enough energy to defend and to manage and to govern their country. In many cases, the local administration, like municipalities and councils and so on, are taking the power of these resources. Okay, so this is another problem we have. Many grasslands, for example, in Spain and in Europe, are now managed by the local administration, not anymore by the communities directly, while others still does. Depends on the situation. Well, this is more or less an overview of the threats, and you have here the link, and I'm almost finishing. You have here the link to the report if you want to go deep on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sergio, for your nice talk, and he has given full governance and public governance and common in the management of pastoral and grasslands, in the government and local governance in Spain and France, and personal governance, ordinances, bylaws, and jurisdictions, international treaties, and between different countries, and then cultural values of these nomadic African and other country people, and multiple layers of cultural capabilities and local institutions, and then promises of this farmers, and then commons, and then commodities, political applications and conservation aspects. And then next, he dealt with the IMC guidelines on protected area, and then convention on biodiversity, and then there are a number of issues and treaties he covered nicely. And thank you, Dr. Sergio, for your nice presentation.